to be seen. A life once full, now an empty vase, with the blossoms on his early grave. Walk away, me boy, walk away, me boy, and by morning we'll be free. Wipe that golden tear from your mother dear, and raise what's left of the flag for me. Then the rosary beads, count them 1, 2, 3, fell apart as they hit the floor. In our garb of black, we must pay respect to the colour we're born to mourn. Walk away, me boys, walk away, me boys, by morning we'll be free. Wipe the golden tear from your mother dear, raise what's left of the flag for me. Stickaroo, an angry fist start a wound filled with hatred and remorse. Where it begins, go
elephant tranquilizer, embalming fluid, energizer, earth flakes, fresh fry sticks, fuel, gold dust, gorilla.
I'm going there to give him cash, hear him laugh, bring him back. If I can't tear down these walls, I'll slip him through the crack. If that crack ain't big enough, I'm sick enough to get committed. Where he's been, I ain't been allowed to visit, and I miss him. They put me in a submission hold, got him living in a hole. Give me the rope, pull it back, cut him slack, he's getting old. This cold does nothing for his bones, he's shaking. Always put on hold, that prison phone's always taken. They put me on a speaker, but my voice is breaking up. I'd like to think he caught bits and pieces before the gates got shut. Raise it up, somebody cover me, I'm going in with razor cuts. It's something ugly that I know within. Can't afford the luxury of exposing everything, but I've been doing the best that I can. I take it day by day, just one step at a time. And I don't need a sobriety test to walk the line. Walking on this tightrope with arms open wide, hoping to find you live and well on the other side. So I could give you this gift as a symbol. When I felt the rope loosen, I knew I missed my window. He really did love you, you know. Pat, pat, said get your fucking hand off my back. This is my passage into adulthood, and I need not small talk, fingers fishing from a weak spot. I used to dream a lot and search for meaning in a sleepwalk. The only time I find myself having a deep talk, and now I never sleep, cause sleep is the cousin of debt. One can never rest depending on how up the drugs get. Upset, submit me to a blood test, find no trace of my words reverting back to wait, that wasn't what I meant. My right eye is sunrise, the left is sunset. The moonshine ain't got me drunk yet. My tongue's wet for the lunar eclipse, and when you're flat broke, ain't nothing you won't do for a fix. It's a beautiful mix of Jesus juice on my lips and words that are stuck, so I stirred them up with a crucifix. And this is where I found a friend in Christ. But I also found a few spikes, and I decided to use them as pegs on my bike, so you'd have a place to stand when I broke you out of that vice. And now I'm going back to rehab. I'm going back to rehab. I'm going back to rehab. Going back to rehab, 'cause I don't drink those. Going back to rehab. Back to rehab. I'm going back as a dead again Christian with a medicine prescription. Yeah, I'm a friend of Bill. Let me in and get me out of this. Hook up the plugs and wires while a dog sniff for a powdered substance. In a town of judgments with glass house developments, cookie cutter Republican school book intelligence. They never considered how just one rock could crack the whole facade. Now they confiscate slingshots. I will not meditate on the sermon. Heaven's gate is burning, so we self-medicate with bourbon while their collection plate gets turned into a purse. I've turned into a second-rate person, but I'm not the first. This isn't your typical cry for help. I tried to melt. Someone stopped the trickling with a Bible belt, reminding me of tourniquets and heroin nods. Now that right there, that's one hell of a god. You can't match magic with an addict that's got a mapping compass in order to find a substance and matchstick that functions. A searching and fearless immoral inventory till every person with a story begins to bore me. I did what I had to do to get to the place where your face wasn't such a blurry mess. I packed all your favorite promises and words that we kept. You weren't hard to find, all it took was 13 steps. And now I'm going back to rehab. I'm going back to rehab. Going back to rehab. I don't drink though, going there to give him cash, hear him laugh, bring him back. If I can't tear down these walls, I'll slip him through the crack. If that crack ain't big enough, I'm sick enough to get committed. Where he's been, I ain't been allowed to visit, and I miss him. Put me in a submission hold, got him living in a hole. Give me the rope, pull it back, cut him slack, he's getting old. This bit of cold is nothing for his riddle bones, he's shaking. Eternally put on hold, that prison phone's always taken. Put me on a speaker, but my voice is breaking up. Like to think he caught bits and pieces before the gates get shut. Raise it up, somebody cover me, I'm going in with razor cuts. Something ugly that I know within. Can't afford the luxury of exposing everything, but I've been doing the best that
on satellite.
Hey,
We
buddy.
didn't we didn't test the soundboard while we were chatting before. Can we try this?
Yeah.
Did you hear anything?
Got her.
Got her? Okay.
Yep.
What's up?
Hey, not much. How you doing?
I'm doing, you know what? I don't think about it.
Good. That's how you do it.
Dude, you know, when you get this many kids, because two is where it starts to
A
get
whole two.
well, it starts to get retarded at two, and then with four, it's a little. You know what? Really, at that point, you're just not even thinking at all.
Yeah.
But two, it's like people ask how you're doing. What kind of question is that? That's a single person question to ask. How's it been? How you feeling? How you doing?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Well, she's only a few months old, and with them being that close in age, that is rough. I've done that. It's not fun.
Yeah. Does it get better?
It gets better. Yeah. That's the worst part. That's the worst part.
You know what's a stupid question to ask someone? Does it get better?
It's gonna get worse before it gets worse, pal.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's saying, "Cry me a fucking river." I might.
Already, we're like 1 minute in. Shut up, you faggot. You're weak.
Oh, so this is the faggot hour I turned into. We got a couple. Is this the faggot show?
Hey, talk about your kids more, you fucking wife guy.
Hutch VD says he's making chili.
Nice.
Where do we stand on chili?
Love chili. You kidding?
Your personality is very good for chili.
Yeah, I'm a chili guy. I'm an everything guy. But you know what? I found from talking to Americans, they have they're protective of their fucking chili, man. Like the way that you make it and everything. To me, it's just you know what it is? I'm like a Chinese guy to chili. I'm like, oh hey, I like it. It's pretty good. I like it. But I make it. It's not what you think it is. When I'm talking about chili, it's not what you're thinking of.
You caught me at a very Chinese chili in my life. I don't even have the music on. Where's my music?
Sound floor. Where's the sound
floor? Can I tell you this right now? People hate that music.
Yeah.
I've gotten more negative comments about that than anything. Where is it? Here we go. Let's get it going.
There we go. Nice.
I just feel nude without it.
Yeah,
really.
It's not the same without this weird smooth jazz.
This Omegas 13 guy, he's got a bad attitude, but I like it.
I bet it's salmon fish in disguise.
He's got a bad attitude, but it goes down easy. Look, beans and chili are fine.
Well, come on. It's not chili if it doesn't have fucking beans. It's just, what is that? That's like sloppy Joe mix if there's no beans in it.
I love a guy who's listening to a podcast with his arms crossed. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. You're doing all right. How about first thing he says when he listens to a host? Shut up. Can you shut up for 5 minutes? Here he is. I like the idea of the music, but maybe something new. See, what's great about that comment from Omegas is that hurts more than if you say you didn't like it. So much meaner. It's beautiful. I like Chester Bennington said, I've become so numb, I can feel you there.
There you go.
And this is the same guy. Oh, here we got someone saying the only place that isn't doomed is Alberta. We're gonna get to that.
Man. All right.
He's already not having it. He's already sick of this. we covered the Alberta thing, didn't we? This would have been a few live streams ago.
We touch on it regularly. I don't think we've ever gone deep on it.
And
look, we're Easterners. We're not experts. We don't know the plight of the Burtons.
Well, that does, we were joking when we interviewed Marty up north, who's a good friend of the show. He let it be known that he was also a transplant there. So you don't technically need to be on the Burton to have an opinion on it.
Yeah, apparently.
You could just be there for a bit.
I mean, Alberta is also browner than Minnesota. So
is that true, or is that just a thing to say?
It's a fact. I had to look that up to argue with somebody last week because Alberta's white. I mean, is it
worse
whiter,
than Ontario?
It's whiter than the city of Minneapolis, but the state of Minnesota is like 5% whiter than Alberta. Ontario is worse. You can't hold up to Ontario. Ontario and BC are fucked. But Calgary is like, we're still white. Nah, you're not. Quebec is white. Newfoundland is white. Alberta is not as fucked as Ontario, but they are fucked. They're approaching 50% immigrant population now.
Is it mostly Indians? I'm asking you, like, you
Indians
did the fucking
flipped,
poll.
Chinese. No, I think they just took a poll whether it was like Canadian or immigrant. So who knows? Maybe a lot of the Canadian count is like second-gen immigrants that just call themselves Canadians. I don't fucking know.
Or did they just go to the place with the most cows?
I can't understand it. I can't understand moving. Look, I love the Prairie. I love the West, right? But if I was an immigrant, I wouldn't be thinking Calgary. I don't understand that.
Where would you go?
If I had to go to Canada, I'd go to fucking Vancouver or Toronto because that's where the Gibbs are. That's
He
where
says
all the other
as if he's not in Canada. This guy. If I had to go to Canada, that's where you are,
So I'm
friend.
saying if I was like if I was an Indian guy and I was buying my ticket to claim refugee status or whatever, I would not be buying a ticket to Calgary. I'd be buying it to either Toronto or Van. And for those reasons that like they're already full of brown people, you have the support network. Honestly, the weather in both of those cities is way nicer. Calgary gets rough, man. So
I can't figure out how they think.
Yeah,
I don't know what drives their decision making.
They must have, like, I just don't know. They must have big support networks in Calgary too, because you hear about like the trucking company. I read an article about this big trucking company out there that's like 100% Indian owned, and they have a huge chunk of the market.
It has to be the trucking. Yeah. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would imagine that in that part of Canada, that midsection there, I bet trucking long distances is a big deal. I bet if you're Indian and you're driving through Saskatchewan and it's just completely flat and there's one road that goes up and down and there's one road that goes side to side and you can just kick up your sandals and coast.
Yep, probably. That's what
when I think of Saskatchewan, I think of corner gas. Like it's just like it's like Courage the Cowardly Dog. Just like an empty expanse.
Yes, nothing. Just grain elevators and grain. Yep.
Omega's, the star of this episode, is asking, do the Gs have a network of gas stations and hotels like they do in the US? I don't think it's as big as because the one in the US is fucking insanely massive.
Like they have a conference. They have a conference for it, right?
Yeah, and it's all caste based. And so I hate knowing this much about Indian, of course, but I saw a comedian bring it up. There's this clip I saw of an Indian comedian, and they're joking, are you a hotel Indian or a gas station Indian? And then he explained to the audience that he said tiers. That's the word he used, but that's also just another word for caste. And it's like, if you're in this caste, like you're the gas station ones and you're at the bottom. And then it's like the hotel ones. And I don't think they have casinos yet, but my God, if they get into casinos, it's fucking over.
Yeah. There's already Indians in the casinos. It's just the wrong type.
Yeah. Or maybe the right type.
That's depending on your perspective. Yeah.
I get them. I understand them. And you're doing this because you want to drink as much alcohol as humanly possible, and you want to take money from me to do that. Like I understand that. I'm not scared of that. I just stay away from it. But with the Indians, I'm like, there's some other game afoot here.
Yeah.
You think they're even sending money back to India? No, they're sending it to a third other place. Like, what the fuck are people up to?
Yeah.
I remember I was reading just this, and I'm saying this with no reference and no source at all, but there was a clip of Modi from like 2023, and he was openly saying that one of the primary mission of the Indian diaspora is to become a wealth extraction engine. And just do what we've been saying, the far right psychos have been saying, which is take over the institutions, gain legitimacy, and just become vampires. And I'm like, everything makes sense, because if you're possessed by a mission, you actually don't care what anyone thinks of you. Like, we're thinking Vivek Ramaswamy is out here feeling embarrassed. He's only embarrassed because he's kind of failing at it because he's bad at it, but he hasn't lost his position. If he lost his position, that would be embarrassing. But just because people are making fun of him for being bad at it, like, he doesn't feel shame with anything coming from like us.
Not capable of that.
Yeah, or he only feels shame from his own people, like white people laughing at him. It's like he's out there with his fucking helmet hair and no shoes on, fucking wearing ski pants and a bandolier, whatever the fuck he's up to today.
Yep.
Yep.
Eating rice with his hands and hot dog with a fork.
Every Indian walking out like they just made a character in Saints Row. just the dumbest combination of mustache and haircut.
Yeah.
Nigga!
Imagine being that free.
Yeah, Saints Row character creator free.
Imagine, if you will, being an Indian. Yeah, honestly, because sometimes I think about what it would be like just to crash my life. You know, we used to live very destitute, myself and Judas, back when we were in our late teens, and living in those multi-family dwelling, you know what I mean? Like those low buildings where it's just a bunch. And it's the only two type of people that live there. It's pensioners or young crackheads. Those two types of people right side by side, and us.
And immigrant families.
Yeah. And then it's all just in this kettle of fish, and it's cheap and it's noisy and it stinks, but it's people just need to stay there your whole life. And we got out of there, but I just thinking, like, if everything went wrong, imagine it ending up back there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then life is so simple. All you care about is the next bottle of gin.
Yep.
All you care about is the next crack rock, whatever it is. You're holed up in your house.
Get your methadone, and
yeah, you're a proper neat. You got the blinds drawn in the middle of the day. You're not leaving the house except to go to the grocery shop, the convenience store. Just an utter reprobate. And I know people won't identify with this, but I look at that, I'm like, I don't know. It's a simple life, man. It's as close as we can get to being a monk. You know what you're doing every day. You know where you're gonna die. You're gonna die over there in that corner.
Big Ziploc bag of dry cigarettes from the reserve.
And you're always walking around. You get one message tattooed on your back, and it's a message to the paramedics. It just says, "Throw me in the trash." And you spend your life savings on it. Oh, we got people filing in right now.
There we go.
Indian casinos are a front for the Jews. Which we're talking about the Aboriginal Indians we got right now. Would the Jews be involved in that, or is it? Would they?
Look, you can find the Jews at the bottom of anything, but is that helpful, or is it tautological? The jury's out.
I gotta ask you something here. Let's look at this.
Yeah.
For those listening on audio, we're looking at Music Magazine website. Headline: Bruce Willis doesn't know he has dementia, wife says.
I imagine she's snickering as she says this, and it's because she has made sure that nobody told him that he has dementia.
This is after they did a documentary about him after he had dementia.
About how bad his dementia is.
Parading him around in front of the camera in this pathetic state. And first of all, shut the fuck up, bitch. But second of all, more importantly, what do you call this type of woman? And the name I was going for was Erika Kirk Syndrome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a wife who, I don't know, when she should be mourning, it's the inverse mourning. Maybe it's joy. Like you've never heard her talk so much as when her husband died or effectively died,
right?
Like him,
right.
They're not even putting on a show. It's like being sad.
Moms of kids with disabilities or autism or something, and it becomes their entire personality, and they're constantly like videotaping everything and posting it online, and it's like, all right.
Like here's my newly retarded husband. Who does this? What is there to be gained? I guess a career, but. And what, even with like Erika Kirk, I'm like, she's walking out to the sparks and the flying, and she's the furthest thing from sad. She switched on.
Look, Kirk is a fucking operative, so that's a different thing. I think most of these women, it's just free, no strings attached attention from everyone.
Is that where we're at? Because I had heard a rumor.
Oh, 100%.
By rumor, I mean I heard from a guy I know who's kind of a half of a guy because he's got like a fake name, of course, but. He said, yeah, Erika Kirk was some kind of Mossad handler.
Dude, she's, and I don't know this because this is, let's be honest, we all get our information from Telegram and Twitter. But what I read was she was way, she was way more politically, internationally connected than he was before they got married. So it's like, she didn't make these connections. She didn't become a handler after they got married in order to control Kirk. She probably was placed in front of him Like their marriage itself may have been a fucking op, in my opinion. If
The
you
only
look at
arranged
how
marriages
well
you get
connected-
anymore are political, isn't it? Like
How
you
does
can't
this
do
guy,
it.
the rising star of the new right, not the dissident right, but like, you know, I would say like the young Republicans.
Yeah, like
essentially.
young Republican trying to
they're-
figure out how groiperish you're
They're-
allowed to be.
Their rising star marries a woman who, for years prior to them even meeting, was already deep in the pocket of Israeli politics. Come on, that's not like, even if you want to say it's a coincidence, now you're trying to tell me it's a fucking coincidence. It's not a fucking coincidence, dude. Sorry.
Looking at the Times of India, of course.
Oh man.
Inside Candace Owens' bond with Charlie Kirk from best friends to Erika Kirk controversy after his death. That's why I wanted to pull this up, that reference point, because we have not gone into the Candace Owens things. Like, we've got other things to talk about this episode, but I'm going to wait a bit before we get into Candace Owens. Maybe we love Candace Owens.
Did they get rid of her? Like, I haven't heard anything from her in a while.
She has got, I think, close to 5 million subscribers.
Yeah, somebody
Like,
was saying she's like she's kind of mainstream.
She's as big as she's ever been.
Yeah.
She's shockingly popular. Like, because we remember Candace Owens from back in the day, back when she was trying to get Nazis fired with her website, Social Autopsy. And now to hear saying, I always make this joke, but she's saying like UFOs are the proof that Jews don't exist, or like just, you know, black woman conspiracy theories. But that's kind of charming. It's kind of charming that she's like insane and dumb, but she's like full speed, volume up to 11.
Yep.
And just making wild accusations, saying
She
like
did-
Charlie Kirk was a clone or something.
I did see a clip the other day. I shouldn't say I didn't see anything. I saw a clip where she was claiming something about the pyramids. Pyramids are a fucking spaceship or something. And she was just like breathlessly like, wow, I had no idea. It's like, you're retarded. you're a stupid woman.
Adam the Duel saying, saw on Twitter that Erika is pregnant.
With
Wild.
JD Vance's child. It's a fact.
You know what? Can you imagine she went immaculate conception? and then no one questioned it? Because what do we know? Like the fucking cockamamie evangelicals that got behind her, like, yep, that makes sense. That tracks. Yeah. Christ is coming back, and it's Erika Kirk, the fucking Israel's top girl. She's just an Israel girl.
She's just.
It should be, and Candace Owens should be pregnant with Charlie Kirk's baby, and probably is, by the way.
Would it'd be funny if we find out like 9 months after his death, all these babies start getting born, and there was actually like a UN Special Forces squad had to kill him because he was impregnating so many women, he had to be stopped.
It'd be really cool.
Have thousands of Kirk children. Yeah.
It'd be really cool if Charlie Kirk got everyone pregnant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That would be crazy. Wouldn't that be wild?
Yeah. You know what? It would be wild. That's a true thing to say. All right, so moving along, we got a lot of retarded shit to talk about here that does nothing to do nothing. So I needed to share this because I saw it, and I think it's important that everyone. So we're looking at a video. What you're going to see, because the very poorly shot video, it's a black man in a funeral suit. So that's kind of like business casual for the rest of us. Beating a casket with a hammer. Mm-hmm. Let's see this.
Woo. Quinn! Quinn!
Bury like that, that's what you do. You bury just like it is now.
My
Bury like it is
goodness.
now.
Now you're seeing that. You're probably thinking, like I did originally, something's in the gumbo.
Mm-hmm.
Someone put some stank on his crawdads, right?
Yeah.
I come to learn he's beating the casket of one of his loved ones with a hammer for the purposes of making sure that they don't dig it up later and reuse the casket.
Yeah.
It's to destroy the resale value of it.
Real concern. Yeah.
And I want you to promise to do that for me.
I will. I'll also bury you in a clown suit, and I'll take all of your valuable possessions for myself so that there's nothing to steal. So I promise.
Okay, so they're saying my audio is fucked up again. Should I just...
Dude, it sounds fine to me. I don't know what, like, specifics. What about how fucked up?
They're saying pop rocky. These people never help me.
No.
They like to see me drown and say, It sounds kind of like a Slytherin a caterwaul. Like, what the fuck? I can basically. I'll save you the technical details. Let me just switch over here. Everyone, let me know if that sounds better.
It sounds nice, I guess, but it's quieter now than it was.
Is it quieter? I can crank it up a bit.
Jacket.
Yeah. So anyway, say in the chat if it sounds better now.
Okay.
We're talking Genghis Kirk. Over
Hell
here,
yeah.
Man of Hip-Hop.
I was thinking that, but I didn't. I was on the Pop Rocky. Ugh.
Pop rock.
Thanks, Monk.
See, I've heard this. They like it scuffed. They like the bad audio.
Yeah.
I might switch it back.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna figure out what the fuck it is we're doing here.
How about this?
So,
Don't listen to anybody.
before we go on, I just wanted to comment on something that we have not commented on yet. Maybe we should have earlier, but we're looking at X at the Noticer, and it's a video by Blair Cottrell. Speaking of Joel Davis, who many will be aware has been imprisoned in Australia for, since last year, Christ, I think it's getting close to 4 months now, since November 20th. Okay, so maybe not, but multiple months. And he's got a video here. We don't need to watch the entire video, but I just wanted people to see that this is the primary way people are getting news about what's going on. It's through phone calls from prison, figuring out that he's being held in solitary confinement. He was arrested because this is debatable. They can say what they arrested him for or what the illegality was, and we can suspect what it really was. Anyway, Joel Davis, many people know Joel Davis, former bestie of Keith Woods, former Groyper, former Catholic, former Satanist, former a lot of things, member of the National Socialist Network in Australia. He was arrested, or so they say, because he had made a post. And it was referring to a journalist, some Australian journalist, and he was calling for his followers to rape her rhetorically. And they said, well, that counts as a threat. And they're citing other posts he did and arrested him, put him in jail, and they keep adding on time and denying bail and just keeping him sequestered from everyone, which sounds pretty outrageous.
Yeah.
Now, someone in our chat had said this, our community. I forget who it was, but just to paraphrase, they could charge him with something now, and they really haven't yet. He hasn't had his day in court. They could charge him with something which would be bad, and he could be in prison for a long time. It would almost be worse if they didn't charge him with anything, and then they eventually let him go. Because what that would mean is that they can just whip up cause to detain you for months, take you away from, he had a baby on the way, missed the birth of his baby. This is what I've been told, and can't talk to anyone. So they can just gin that up and then drop it later as a flex, as a way to say, you think you're untouchable? We can just make anything up and get you and just gum up the works, fuck up your life, and then bye, see ya. So long, thanks for all the fucking chocolate chips. But that would send a message to everyone else that you don't even need to do anything egregious for them to just decide to detain you for an extended period of time.
Right.
And it's not years, it's not 7 years, but if you think about it, you hear about this stuff and it sounds easier than it is. Oh, he's gone for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. Well, it's not 7 years, it's not 15 years. But imagine 7 months away from your family, your friends, your job.
Yeah.
That can blow up your entire life. You're let's say you run your own business. Done.
Over.
You got clients. Bye.
Yep.
You can't make money now. You get to sell your house. You got to do crazy shit for something that they can do with the flick of a wrist.
Yeah.
What do you think about all that?
I mean, in Joel's case, I was under the understanding a lot of these guys are supported entirely by their followers, right? So thankfully, I don't think he lost the job over it. But yeah, it has a cooling effect. But if we want to just times.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, it went on. Okay, never mind. Something happened on the screen. Okay. If we're talking about the knock-on effects, right? Like this is going to have a cooling effect on people, and they don't want to say anything because they don't want to get the Joel Davis treatment. Also, they're setting a precedent here. Detaining somebody for a year in terrible conditions without welcome to the fuck show. Thanks, Monk. Detaining somebody without charging them.
For the folks home just listening, a comment came by and said, "Welcome to the fuck show," and Judas was confirming that he saw that. Sorry, continue.
If I was trying to think and it popped up in my field of vision. Yeah, I'm just talking about the precedent that this sets. Like Australia has gone really, really far left. Australia is probably worse than any other Western nation right now, in my opinion. But if it ever swings the other way, I guarantee you the new leadership is going to be detaining people without charging them and putting them in fucking solitary for 7 months. Because apparently you can and nobody stops you. So they're playing a dangerous game.
I would say that Australia is similar to Canada in that regard, legally, parliamentarily.
But they haven't. I mean, they haven't gone as far in Canada at this point.
Yeah,
and we also don't like that law that they just passed, where essentially, what is it, like denying the Holocaust or something actually gets you prison time? I don't know the rules, but like they have some.
It technically, it does here, but we have like the same laws. They're just not leveraged and utilized as much as you'd think. Like it's weird. It's like our legal system has a lot of very nasty precedents that it has used against individuals in the past, but not as widely as you think. So that makes me think it's a lack of not will but bureaucratic capability.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain it, but like the opportunity is there. They could be doing more than just not, but in Australia they are. Maybe it's because the population's concentrated more in those like 3 main cities.
Yeah, it could be.
It could be a lot of shit, but like it could be that Canada is more inept. That would be an easy answer.
I'd buy that.
I'm not sure that's the answer, but
yeah.
But every time I see something come out of Australia, like I'm always surprised that they have a government. It seems like 4 guys. I'm just not paying attention. I don't know what's going on. I'm just like everyone hangs out at the Sydney Opera House. I thought
Are they bigger or smaller than us?
That's sorry. Judas keeps getting kicked.
Do I? I thought that's what I was seeing.
Okay, so
am I there?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you, but
my screen came up again. It said waiting for host to let you join.
I'm not doing anything.
You are.
I'm not doing anything.
All right.
So I just wanted to comment on that because I know that I think this is important, and I think it's relevant to Canadians. And I think we don't know exactly what's going to happen, obviously.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to state for the record where I stand on it. I think it's very troubling, and I'm of 2 minds about it. So on one hand, we'll say that we stand against this. This can be used against other people, and it very well could be. And if what I think is happening, it's more nefarious than we might think. However, if I'm also in a position to advise young men on how to behave online to limit the possibility of this happening to them, I would advise, if you are speaking about a journalist or a politician, just avoid the word rape. You don't gotta say it. You can say a lot of. You could send. I tell you, we talk amongst ourselves. We love saying all kinds of words. There's a lot of people out there, as crazy as it might seem, they're really bothered by rape.
Didn't they take some of these comments from a private Telegram chat though? That somebody had leaked?
It's not his. No, it was just from his channel, and he was telling his
broadcasting it.
And that's kind of like a joke that we would all tell. The type of joke that we could get in prison for, right? Like how many things have we had said? Go on my ex right now, and there's everything is a fireable offense, and some of them are jailable offenses. But if I would say to people, don't be like me. Just trying to avoid the word rape, while also believing we should exist in a world where you can say things like that. At present, that's if you're saying that about a woman, especially if you're saying it about a man, fair game.
Yeah. That's true.
You might say it is more praxeological to say that you want to rape Justin Trudeau with a knife than you want to rape a female journalist with words.
Most of the time when we talk about rape, we're usually talking about it past tense. We're saying Will Stancil is the most raped man on Earth.
Yes.
We're not threatening. We're saying, oh no, he has been. He is in a permanent
That's
state
a good point.
of rapedness.
That is a
Like
very,
you talk
very good
about
point.
this journalist, and you're like, the thing about this journalist, she's just been raped. She is raped.
That's where he went wrong. It's not a threat can only exist in the future. If you say to a woman that she was raped,
Yeah.
what can she do?
You know what I heard? I heard she got raped. That's the story.
Yeah.
Yep.
If I go up to, let's say, who, Cardi B, and say, you were raped. What's she gonna do? You can't go to jail for being wrong.
Can't you?
Maybe. The amount of things that I don't know about what is
Been arrested under the
Jailable.
actually clause.
well, you can't go to jail for striking a woman.
Yeah.
A guy who's like amazed that he's getting arrested for fucking. That's the thing about they left out the Ted Bundy movie. He's like, I didn't know you couldn't do that. He's in court looking utterly baffled, totally lost. Mr. Bundy, I'm trying to do a John Malkovich voice from the Zac Efron movie. Mr. Bundy, can't do it. Not gonna
That
try.
was good. You had it there for a second.
He kind of has to talk soft like this. Nah, it's not there. It's not there. But he's just like, don't. He didn't know. He learned too late. So, yeah, here we go. Adam the Duel. Ma'am, you are the most raped, and I'm just so sorry. That's a perfect statement.
Yeah. There it is.
What are you going to send that guy to trial for? Being too actualized?
Yeah. Because that'll piss her off just as much, probably. That's a how dare he.
That's a man who's in tune with his inner feminine, and you're going to throw him in the clink for that? How about nuclear war? I don't know. Okay, I got some other shit here.
What do we got?
We have other things to talk about, of course, but have you heard about Iran being a Stargate?
No.
So we have a Persian friend of the show, a longtime listener, makes some of the best memes you've ever seen. I'm very proud to call him an ally. But he lives in Iran, and he was off the internet for, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month? And you heard the news about this.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get into the news, but I'm going to tell you what I think happened, and you tell me if that lines up with what you've heard, right? So there's some, of course, Israel has its fingerprints all over this, but there's some kind of color revolution that was being inspired from Israel with American backing. And so Iran did this one crazy trick, which is they just shut off the internet and killed a bunch of people, and then turned it back on for a minute to show video of them killing people, and then turned it back off again. What I'd heard they did was there were spies everywhere, Western spies. And so they shut off the internet, but they kept Starlink up. And then they apparently had some kind of back door into Starlink, and they could see more accurately who was using it and for what. And that's how they
Yeah,
were
I don't think
identifying
it's
the
backdoor. I
spies.
think they could just you can triangulate because it's an active radio signal, so they could just fly a plane overhead and triangulate where the Starlink satellites are, or where the receivers are. Right? If they're active receivers, you can kind of see them. So, yeah.
Yeah, so they rounded up. It sounded like 80,000 liberals and spies and just undesirables, unfuckables, mouthy women, whoever's causing a ruckus. And they said, we're going to hang them. And then I don't think they hanged all of them, but a few.
I heard they hung a tiny number, like a dozen or something. Like it was
A dozen people hanged is still a
it's
big
nothing.
deal over here. Over there,
Yeah, but
it's
that's
nothing.
a regular weekend in Iran.
Yeah.
And that's not a criticism. Like you could get those numbers up, honestly. So I don't know.
Lord, I've seen what you've done for the Persians, and I would like you to do that for me.
Yeah.
Because isn't that just what we all talk about? Like, what if we just shut the internet off for a month, and then a lot of stuff happened? A lot of people they can just do it, and then they did it real fast. And it turns out nothing happens. Like nothing. What's the international community going to do? Here's the thing: like they if you do that once, if Ireland did that one time, Scotland, it would be a huge deal. Once you do it 3 times, everything's okay. It's like drinking. If you get blackout drunk and fight someone one time, they're thinking, "Whoa, I'm not used to this." Then this cool thing happens. They get used to it, and that's just part of your fun personality.
Nice.
Then they have to move around you. You are the rock that the rest of the world or your friends and family have to bend around. Doesn't that sound impressive? I'd like Canada to embrace some of these great ideas.
Yes.
Anyway, Iran is a stargate. Let's figure out what's going on here.
What does Iran have to do with stargates, reptilian?
I hate when I hear women talking about this, by the way. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
We got a guy talking about this.
I'll be honest, I don't like hearing women on my headphones actually ever. So
Like you got it recorded by the ocean just to prove that you go outside.
yeah.
I assume you go outside. You don't need to prove it.
And the suppression of consciousness on this entire planet. Everything. Today on Stargate Saturdays, let's talk about Iran.
We got to tune into Stargate Saturdays, don't we?
No.
We have a community member. Is this Scholes who does this? You don't know exactly what I'm talking about. Where he listens to like hot girl energy.
Oh yeah.
So this is one of the most insane Germans you've ever heard of. Like a real savage. One of the best. But he's gone into a downward spiral where he's listening to this podcast by this, how would you describe her? Like I'd say like a 7 out of 10, but sees herself as a hot girl. She's got a podcast and talks about what are hot girls doing this spring? What are hot girls thinking about this winter? Just the most inane, bug-eyed nonsense. But he's listened to every single episode. He posts every single episode when it arrives.
No.
Yes. And I haven't listened. I listened to like 15 seconds. I'm like, I can't do this even ironically. But he's in it now. This is his Sons of Anarchy. Like you're too deep into it. You need to see it through the end. You can't stop at season 3. You know.
Yeah.
You need to suffer until the end because you're not a coward.
Oh man, I just looked her up. Yeah, she's really like, she's not ugly, but like she has kind of a masculine face. No tits.
So you're looking at the podcast.
Very skinny, yeah. Like, but hot girl, and yeah, you're not like nobody's turning their head to look at you, bitch. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know it's delusional, but he's listening to that, and so I imagine this is like that.
And how we see an uprising of people as the Stargate in their area is clearing. You're going to realize that people that come from a certain area on the planet, their DNA is key coded to the grid.
I like how she started that with, you gotta realize. Like it's a guy telling you, like, you gotta realize you need winter tires. You
Yeah.
can't be, like in Canada, you can't have all season tires.
We're the Indians in this situation, and she's trying to get us on board with normalcy.
She's talking to me like I'm an asshole for not knowing this.
Look, nobody's told you yet. It's not your fault, but you got to listen to me, okay? People's DNA is coded to the Stargate near the town where they were born. I mean, you should know this. How old are you?
I'm gonna tell you something you already fucking know. Your blood's a fucking Stargate, okay? All right, Italian bitch.
Grids and the Stargates of their area. This is why those people have been targeted for thousands of years. Bloodshed, destruction of their land, and the suppression of the people there because it.
Okay, this woman sucks. You want to see a good one?
There's no good one. You're tricking me.
Okay, look at this
Leading me
guy.
along. Oh no.
Oh,
Skinny
you
Chinese guy
knew I wouldn't leave
with
you
the
in the
gel
lurch.
hair. Oh no.
There's a lot going on here for you listening. I don't think I've ever seen a shinier Asian man.
Oh, this is a normal Asian man in Asia.
Really?
Yeah, this is a fucking the bog standard Asian guy in Asia.
I guess I gotta
Oily,
shut my bitch ass up.
greased hair, like a lycra Manchester United T-shirt. Yeah. Yep.
What's good? Is that sweat or grease? Would you say?
It's the oil of his skin because it's 90% and they're just constantly sweating.
They're just always
Yeah. That's just what you
guzzling oil.
look. I looked like that when we lived there, right? Everybody looks like that, unless you live in an inside an air conditioner.
So it's the heat. It's not just the.
They
rice?
also don't really air condition. It's part of look. It's racial a little bit, but it's also just the conditions. Like these people don't use air conditioners, right? Like I got laughed at over there because I would run the AC to get like control the temperature and humidity in the office. They're like, "What are you doing? Are you fucking rich?" Like it's not even that expensive, but they're used to it. They just live it. They suffer.
All right. So Geek593 wants to know what is Guido in Mandarin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They have Italians over there too. Eurasian. That's one. Caravaggio says Peking duck forehead.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. Okay.
Yeah.
This guy, he's got a tattoo on his neck, an esoteric neck tattoo, which you usually don't see without accompaniments of other tattoos.
Holding a stargate that could literally change Earth's future. And nobody's been talking about it until now. This is more than just politics because Iran sits on Stargate.
These guys love AI video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These before AI video, it was just them talking, but now
they used to have to like piece shit together and like use clips out of context to try to make it look more interesting than it is.
But you
now,
can just pay not even a lot of money and generate something like this, which is like and the prompts aren't very good.
They're putting David Icke out of business as we speak.
Yeah, where's David Icke? Where is David Icke in
he had the
this?
budget to do all of this, but he's no longer needed because now anybody can do it. David Icke has been outsourced.
I really want to talk to a furious David Icke that he's getting his lunch eaten by these ham and eggers.
10. A pre-fall energetic portal once used to anchor eternal life energy into Mother Earth's body. For thousands of years, it's been hijacked by fallen forces who sent frequencies through it to trap the solar masculine and suppress the divine feminine voice. The people and voices rising up right now, and suppress forces who sent frequencies through it to trap the solar masculine and suppress the divine feminine voice.
So wait, so it's trapping the masculine, but then also suppressing the feminine. So we're just neither. Because usually you suppress the masculine to heighten the feminine, or you suppress the feminine to heighten the masculine. But it's just one's trapped and one's suppressed.
It's just gibberish, man.
Yeah, I love this though. Like, this is what happens if you listen from episode 1 of Blood Satellite up until now. Because if you recall, we've covered all of this, and we went deep into Time Cube, all that Atlantean stuff.
Yeah,
we did a lot of like that Old Testament esoterica about the antediluvians and the giants. Like
there's the one. It wasn't spinal catastrophism, but it was something about how like the Earth takes pain. Or maybe that was spinal catastrophism.
Oh no, that was no. I know exactly what we're talking about. That was Cyclonopedia from the CCRU guys. They were all kind of intermingled, but spinal catastrophism was kind of an interesting idea. But Cyclonopedia was just written by an Iranian moron, and it was about it got into how oil is sentient, but it's also
right.
Well, he got into the idea of what a hole is, and a hole, like digging a hole, being like the negative space, and it's like an incursion of the negative space into our realities. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to get into it. We talked about this on an episode of Do You Even Read with the Prudentialist. But as I'm saying it, you're probably thinking, that's interesting. That sounds trippy. I'd love to hear about that, but nah, man. Because it's also written in a faux fictitious way. It's written as if it's the author talking about like a fake guy and then telling the story from a third person perspective about, you know, I just hate anything where you need to create an author and then say, oh, this is the work written by that author, and it's incomplete because he disappeared or he was assassinated by a reptile's bullet. And so that's just a way for you to replace release an incomplete work and then make it seem extra mysterious. I just think that's kind of hack.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, Tartaria. We talked about Tartaria for a while.
Oh, man, yeah.
Pretty divisive.
He said Tartarania.
Tartarania. Why not?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like this guy, he could mispronounce half this shit, and no one would care.
Yeah.
But it's all the stuff. It's manosphere stuff in there too. It's like this is why you can't get laid. This
You
is
got to
why
get
you're
out of the
divorced.
longhouse, the cosmic longhouse.
It's because the Iranian Stargate. That's why you got divorced.
The people and voices rising up right now, they're not just protesters, they are souls who are awakening. And every single chant is cracked.
Yeah, he's talking about like what's going on now, like what we were just describing, but saying like, no, this is the Stargate, and that's because their DNA was interdimensional.
Open dark gateways buried in their DNA and in the land itself. You see, if the Abadan gate reopens and distortion is cleared over Iran, a dormant energy current could flood into Mother Earth's planetary grid, reconnecting Persia to the eternal flame template. This wouldn't just free Iran, it could shift Mother Earth's entire energetic grid. Stargate 10 in the Middle East has been fought over in the invisible world for centuries. It's not just for oil. It's a very valuable piece of real estate, and the time has come to restore it.
I like how in the interdimensional world they still have real estate. But I hear something like that and I say, okay, do it. Good. Why are you alerting me? This sounds great.
Yeah.
If it happens, okay, they're gonna awake. Everyone's awakening.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah, great. What's the problem? Why do you look scared?
Yeah.
You can't
True.
tell. This is as big as his eyes get.
Yeah. This is his shocked look.
Yeah. This is what David Icke would say. Like within 5 years, the aliens are going to come, and they're going to come. It's going to be the age of Aquarius. Okay, sure.
Nice. Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
You need to tell us that. Just
anyways.
have it be. Why are you spoiling the surprise?
Yeah.
Shut up.
You ruined the surprise.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Thanks, fat idiot. Just let the age of Aquarius just happen. This guy, look how nervous he is about the Iranian Stargate ushering in the interdimensional eternal flame, and then the good guys win. I don't know if the good wins.
There's definitely a piece of his brain missing. I know guys with this skull shape. There's a good chunk of his frontal lobe is just not even there.
Oh look, does he have Somali head?
He's got Somali head. It's not that. It's a certain type of southeastern Chinese guy too.
Tell me about this type of Chinese guy. We got a new type of Chinese
No,
guy.
they're just retarded. They're violent. A lot of them have like skin disorders. Actually, that might be what this is. Two of the guys that I know that look like this have like extreme eczema all over their face. One of them is gay and it literally has AIDS. Yeah, it's a whole phenotype. They're like.
I guess
I
I shouldn't just laugh when I hear that like that, but it is funny to me. We've been so polluted by the discourse that if someone earnestly tells you that they have AIDS, I don't know how you're not going to laugh.
Yeah. It's like it's a punchline. It's like, no, I'm confiding in you, my.
If you're Australian, you better not tell me you have cancer.
I can't handle
it.
I can't handle two practical jokes at once.
I can't handle being a person in a moment anymore. All right, enough of this fucking
Please.
this fucking shit.
Thank you. What do we got? We got news. What do we got? A discussion? What's going on?
Oh, do we got real news? The Bank of England must plan for a financial crisis triggered by aliens, says foreign policy expert.
It never ends.
No. We don't need to. Like, what are we at time-wise here? We're at an hour. Oh,
An
no.
hour. No. Yeah.
Oh no.
Talking about fucking aliens and bitches.
I have ruined many people's evenings. There's people who came to this in good faith. Maybe a first-time listener.
What do we advertise this as? We're doing like, is Canada cooked?
Is Canada doomed?
Is Canada
Maybe we
doomed?
better get to that. I don't want to hear about. You know, before we get to that though, let me just do a bit of promotional stuff here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, very very quickly, this April, we are having the April event in Toronto, and this is an event that will be in downtown Toronto at a venue that is to be disclosed later. You're looking at the webpage right now at coacanada.com. That's where you buy the tickets. We use Square and PayPal. Some people have been favoring PayPal, but we also have Square. Who's going to be there? I'm going to be there. Judas is going to be there.
Yep.
Ferryman's Toll is going to be there. Very, very popular content creator. Catgirl Kulak, very, very popular Substack creator, is going to be there in person delivering a speech, as will Dr. Ricardo Duchesne, who, if you are a Canadian nationalist, should sound very familiar to you.
Yes.
They will all be there delivering speeches. Maybe a couple other people as well. We got some other people that are, we're in discussions with, but it's at least going to be those three. It's going to be a great time.
And all your buddies. The last one that I went to, I made lifelong friends at the last one. So come out and meet people too.
The last one rocked. I think this one's going to be even better. There's going to be snacks. There's going to be drinks. There's going to be good times. And so I just want to forward people that there's early bird pricing right now. So get the tickets early, get them a bit cheaper, slightly more expensive as we get closer to the date. Tickets are going fast. You've heard it all before. I'm not going to bore you with that. Also, check out our store. Check out the Good Suffer store. I'm going to throw this up here. You can buy one of our shirts, the felted Lindy Waffen shirt. We got that here. One of our very popular shirts, the Give War a Chance shirt. A lot of people have been liking this. Made in partnership with the Sunflower Society, popular Telegram channel. Anyway, go there, buy shirts, buy posters, buy mugs, buy whatever. Help support the show. Help support other content creators too, because when we partner with other content creators, they get 100% of the profits. When Z-Man was alive, we partnered with him. He got all the money from that. We discontinued the Z-Man shirt, of course, since he passed, and I couldn't verify where the money was going with that. Long story short, we've got other creators that we partnered with as well. So give that a look whenever you're able to. It's not the holiday season anymore. It's January. You got no excuse to buy a shirt. I get that. But still, you should. Buy a couple. What else? Oh, yeah. Also, support the show if you can on our Patreon or Gumroad. So a lot of people don't know we have that. Patreon and Gumroad is where you get the first 150 episodes of Blood Satellite. I think the last, what do we have, episode 320? 150 and onward are free, but the first 150, they're paywalled. Also, every single week there's a new show. Every single week there's a video released of our sister show, Real Secret Coffee Hours. It's just me recording reviews of Substacks. If you've ever wanted to hear us cover more e-drama, if you ever want us to really go after individuals and critique some ideas and talk about the drama and the scene and all that, this is for that. We try and keep that off of the main show as much as we can. So give that a shot. I think we're getting close to episode 100 of that. So you're going to get, for a pretty low price, 150 episodes of Blood Satellite plus 100 episodes of that, plus all kinds of other doodads and bells and whistles. So with that being said, hold on, I'm just going to take that off. Here we go. So let's talk about Canada. I've got a few things lined up to things that have happened since we were away. We were away for a week. A lot happened during that week, and I'd like to address them now.
Truly.
So you're looking at this right now. We're looking at the BBC, and it says Trump withdraws Canada's invitation to Board of Peace. Now, I show this because I think it's reflective of a conflict that's been going on between Carney and Trump over the past, how long? Year and a half? A lot of tension, a lot of terse words, and it seems that he has been very vocal about breaking from the current American administration. But I just love this story because you hear that. He said, Canada's no longer invited to the Board of Peace. We're the only ones not invited. It turns out that I think you need to pay to be in it. And it's, I found this line here, Canada has indicated that while it would not pay to be on the board, it would join. So like, yeah, we'll go, but we're not going to just fork over money for this. And apparently it does sound like a shakedown. And also, I don't know what it's supposed to be. Have you heard about this? Do you have any thoughts about this?
My impression was it's just more UN peacekeeper bullshit. Like it isn't anything. It's just bureaucracy. So, I mean, I wouldn't want us to be involved in it anyway. This is one of a list of things over the past couple of weeks where I've been kind of patting Carney on the back, as much as I don't like him, that I appreciate. And I don't want to be on the Board of Peace. Thank you.
That's true. As much as I dislike Carney, and there's many reasons to dislike Mark Carney. One is that when I was on Myth of the 20th Century was it earlier this week? Last week. And for people who didn't get a chance to hear that, the audio version of this episode is going to contain the audio version of my appearance on Myth of the 20th Century. I was on with Stormy Waters, and we're just talking Canada, we're talking Venezuela, and we're talking Greenland. And we were talking Mark Carney, obviously, because whenever you go on with Americans, they want to see, well, what the hell's going on with this Mark Carney guy? And so I was saying that, you know, we've been critical of him since the start, but I'd said on the show, and I still believe this, that he is at least competent, which makes him more dangerous.
Yeah.
Because with Trudeau, he was highly incompetent and disrespected, and his approval ratings were laughably low. But we said, imagine someone who was like Trudeau, but sensible, and who was a shark, which is what I believe Mark Carney to be. He does know how to say the right thing to appeal to people even on our side, which is rare, and makes certain gestures to heritage Canadians, use that language to get us on side. We don't really fall for that, but he's also a Davos guy. Of course he is. He was former head of the Bank of England. This is a guy, you know, everyone forgot about the Great Reset. Everyone forgot about the World Economic Forum. No one really talks about that much anymore. But if there is a globalist agenda, I think Mark Carney is front and center for that. And I think having him in charge of Canada is probably the worst place he can be to do the most damage in the interest of maintaining that system and transforming Canada fully into just a globalist economic zone.
Yes.
That's my feeling. But you do. So some people, and we'll get into this in just a little second, but this is him actually standing up to Trump, which is interesting to me. Whereas Greenland and Denmark seem to fold immediately over, you know, Trump was playing Trump.
But the thing is, Trump backed off, right? Trump was like, oh, I'm going to invade. I'm going to take it. We're going to make it the 51st state, whatever. And then he's like, well, actually, we made a deal where we're just going to have increased military access. Like, you retard. Well, that's what they were already offering. That's what they said 6 months ago. They're like, you can't have it, but we will let you build more bases and give you exclusive access.
Here's what it actually was, from what I saw, and people can correct me in the chat. So, and this is, people call it his art of the deal. But if you can read Art of the Deal by Trump, and this is just threats, right? That's why one of the reasons, maybe not the reason, but one of the reasons he got Maduro from Venezuela is to show the world that he's willing to do something like that. He's not all talk. He's not North Korea, saber rattling every few years about nuclear war and no one takes him seriously. Like, you need your threats to be credible. And so he made them credible, but that is what they are. When you say you're going to invade a country with your military to bring people to the bargaining table, that's not Art of the Deal. That's just threatening war, which is something different entirely. But that's not a chess move. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's not playing 5D underwater backgammon, as Shapiro would say. It's just throwing his weight around militarily. Okay, so put that to the side. My understanding of what happened in Greenland was that he, and this is true to an extent, he's playing up the strategic importance of Greenland against China and Russia, and saying that we need to secure that area. It's not being properly secured, and there's trade routes involved in this. Okay. But what wasn't brought up were natural resources or mines. And from what I saw, the deal that they got was that we can have more bases and America gets a couple mines, which wasn't talked about because he wasn't talking about the importance of natural resources in the region. Just like he wouldn't talk about the importance of Canadian natural resources rather, when he's talking about annexation. He's talking about China, he's talking about trade routes, but he won't bring up what he might really want, which is just straight up resources.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that wasn't brought up a lot from him. So that tells me it's like, that's why he went in with his full force, because he wanted what he already had, yes, but then this other thing. And he just wanted to get done fast. I think the speed is the part of it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't hear anything about that, so if that's true, then that would make sense. I don't think it's good statesmanship. I don't think it's sustainable, right? Like, how long are you even going to have fucking allies? If you really are a hegemon and you can actually scare the entire planet into a corner with a gun all at once, then by all means go for it. I don't think that's true though. I don't think you can scare the entire fucking planet into a corner at once, Trump. So we'll see how this plays out for him over the next 8 years.
I'll tell you what, I think it gets easier to scare the whole world once you get a couple in the pocket. And I think that was the worst thing that Denmark and Greenland could have done, which is, quote, like, he made the threats and he let it be known that there's really no consequence to him making these threats.
Yeah, but I'm saying the consequences are long term. The point is there will be consequences for Greenland. If that's true, this is a bad deal for Greenland and Denmark. They don't get fucking anything out of it, and they lose quite a lot. And the same thing is doing to Canada. You are turning these countries, like Canada right now, right and left, are turning against Trump, right? Everybody's turning against Trump. Now Europe is turned, like, you're going, not just Trump, but against Americans, because the thing is, Americans are eating this, hook, line, and sinker. They love this shit, because there's, anyways, I'm not going to go off on Americans, but like, you only have so much fucking goodwill. You can't keep playing these negotiating games 10 years from now and expect them to turn out exactly the same way if the parties you're then negotiating with are significantly poorer, weaker, and more broken because of what you've been doing to them for the past 10 years. At some point, they're either going to collapse under your weight, right, or they're going to stop working with you. So unless we're just saying it's truly just going to be an American empire, they're going to take over the whole fucking planet. I can't see it. I can't even imagine that happening. Yeah. America is so fucking fat and gay and brown. It's inconceivable that there would actually be a global American empire at this point. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I honestly think, I don't think Trump is that Machiavellian about anything.
No, I don't think so either. He's just a bully. He's just a stupid bully. He's trying to get one thing out. He's got a list of shit he wants, and he's pointing a gun at people to get it. That's all it is.
Well, Geek 593 makes a good point here. Were the majority of Canadians ever not going to be against Trump? Which I think...
You had the Canadian right 100% with Trump 9 months ago. 100%. And like, if you're not in Canada, you haven't seen this, but now it's pretty much split, and it's going in the opposite direction fast. And it's because we're losing our fucking jobs and our houses. And I'm not saying it's because of Trump. It's not because of Trump. But Trump is got his boot on the back of our national head and is pushing us into the mud in our moment of weakness is what's going on. So he's not a good ally, okay? We don't view America as an ally, as a reliable partner anymore. We view them as a bully, essentially. So, which is what America is to Canada at this point.
Mark Carney made a point. I'm trying to see if I can pull up the clip here, but he gave a speech at Davos, and he had said that the previous international order is ending, and that he wasn't calling it a multipolar paradigm shift, but he was saying that everything you'd said. Trust is broken.
I agree. I actually thought it was a pretty decent speech.
It was I think it was an accurate speech. However, The question is whether or not that's something that Trump wants. Now, does he want the implicit made explicit? Does he want to shake things up in the interest of setting up a possible J.D. Vance presidency to massage some of the existing deals into something more? Because the idea is that so many of these leaders eventually cycle out, and you're left with the policies with a new person in charge of them who might treat them differently. Caravaggio made a good point. It says whatever, let me pull it up here, whatever deals Trump strikes can be canceled later. That's true, or they can be reaffirmed in a different tone or different voice. I honestly think, and we talked about this on the Myth of the 20th Century episode, that other geostrategists have mentioned that if, I mentioned Peter Zeihan, probably a bad example, but others have said this, that if Trump, or not Trump, but America, were to pull its security interests from Europe and Eurasia, it could end up projecting them south, towards South America, and assert itself more in the Western Hemisphere. And I think they've been predicting that for 10, 15, 20 years now, and I think that is one thing that really is happening right now. But it's almost to a letter what others have been saying. It's like you're going to see them break from Europe, and Europe will be left stranded. And what's Europe going to do? And maybe he's expecting Europe to come back begging. I think he wants to change the nature of the relationship, but I don't think it will. So, and that's kind of what Canada's in right now. Canada's looking for a new dance partner, and we're looking at global news right now. Canada on Chinese EVs shows trade trumped national security, says experts. I know you've got some opinions on this about Canada, in light of all this, pursuing a stronger relationship with China. Now, I got my views on this, but I want to see what you think about this.
I mean, look, I don't like China, but China has actually been a more reliable trade partner than the U.S. China, there's tariffs on our shit, but if they're consistent, they don't use tariffs as a weapon against us. They use them the same way everybody else uses them. It's like mercantile. So look, regardless of whether I like the trading partner, we need trading partners. Our industry is dying on the vine as we speak. I'm watching it at work every day. We need trading partners. We need capital investment. So if China is going to build fucking Chinese factories here, the Americans aren't doing it. And not only are the Americans not doing it, but every time we try to build a factory, they use patent law and fucking, aggressive lawsuits to break down our companies and take them away. Right? Because they essentially don't want us to win. So if the Chinese are going to either invest in us or build factories here, I'm fine with it. It's better than dying. So, right? And it's the same thing with Europe. If he pulls back from Europe and goes to South America, you really you're dreaming if you think Europe is going to come back begging. They're just going to go to Russia and China.
Yeah, I think the relationship. I was looking at Omega's here in the chat, saying no, we didn't. We had them aligned with similar interests. I wonder if he was talking about Europe.
Or the Canadian, right? That we all thought we were on the same side until Trump actually got elected and just went guns out for Canada.
Yeah, I might take a different approach because everything you said is true about, let's say, American business interests in Canada. We talked about this with the book on corporate Canada that we covered a few episodes ago about one of the difficulties of defining the Canadian business sector is since its inception, since Confederation, it's been aligned with American interests and often populated by Americans themselves, and then later subverted and bought by American interests as well. And they're always trying to sell out the country south of the border. However, I think if we're talking about who an ally ought to be, I would pick America over China, simply because I'm not excited about any hypothetical deals with China, which is all this is at this point. Like, we're talking about a deal for electric vehicles. Who gives a fuck? Basically, even when I was on Myth of the 20th Century, I think it might have been Stormy. It was Stormy or Adam. There's only two other fucking people there, so it must have been one of them. But they said that really the problem China's having is they have a surplus of EVs that are just collecting dust in parking lots like they do with everything. Yeah. Like everything China's ever done, it's fucking mothballed in a field somewhere. And so they're just looking at this as a way to dump their surplus into a new market, and it's a win-win for them. I don't know what we get other than a bunch of like rusted, shitty Chinese EVs. I think what people would like is just a Ford Hilux. Or not Ford Hilux, but like the thing with Hilux.
The thing with trade, in fairness, you give people the opportunity to purchase something. If they don't want it, they're not going to buy it, and that's the Chinese's problem, right? But to the extent that people want to buy these, nobody right now can actually. If you wanted to get an electric car, there's no such thing as a cheap electric car in Canada. It doesn't exist. So if they're going to come and offer like $12,000 electric cars, that does completely change the market. So I'm not saying that I would buy that. I'm not saying that's even a good thing. But to be like, they're just dumping. I mean, I'll take dumping. What are you gonna dump some aluminum next, dude? Dump some phenolic resin. Dump some fucking polycarbonate.
Here's a man who wants to be dumped on.
No, give me look. I want access to that shit. We're being cock blocked on both oceans here from everything. It's part of the reason we don't have any industry left. Like, look, what I had said earlier, I would prefer the U.S. to me is our natural ally. All else being equal, we should be brothers with the U.S. But what's actually happening on the ground, at least in Ontario, is American factories and American business interests are pulling out at the speed of sound and going south of the border. And if China is actually, and as you said, this is all talk right now, it hasn't happened. But if China wants to come in, I say let them. We have empty factories and we don't have the capex to actually stand them back up again. So if China's going to come and stand those factories up, fucking let them. Because the Americans have left. The Americans are the ones who left the fucking factories. So I just want the factories.
It was so frustrating considering this earlier because just relating to something else I was doing, I was thinking about Canadian manufacturing. And I was thinking about policy positions that could reinvigorate Canadian manufacturing, because everyone says that. Everyone says we should, even though, as we discussed in a previous episode, the character of Canadian labor has always tilted more agrarian than entrepreneurial. We've seemed to almost be hostile to entrepreneurship up here. You know what I mean? Like, it's not easy to be an entrepreneur up here, whereas in America they seem to glamorize it, right? And I think that's been the case both culturally and financially. Like, it's very hard to start a business up here. But I was thinking, how could you do it? And I was encountering, I won't say their name, but I was speaking with a fairly large content creator in their space. I was getting some merch done. They're producing flags, right? And of course, you want to buy Canadian. You want to employ Canadian skilled tradesmen or craftsmen or whatever the fuck it is, any business you can. But just to get, or you might get a print on demand option. You might get a flag or a banner or something for an event. You can go to like Printify or Printful and get that done up. But you're dealing with, I don't know, Bangladeshi or Chinese or whatever the fuck. But let's try and go Canadian.
Vistaprint, for example, is like the biggest one in Canada. And I've dealt with them before. It's what you can see on the package. All they're doing is they're drop shipping shit from India. 100%.
Yeah, drop absolutely, yes.
And you're paying. This is what I'm saying about us being cock blocked at the border. Like, we're paying 10, 15 times more than they're paying, and that's it. It's just from India. And like when we have businesses, we just do business direct with fucking China now. Like, why am I going to pay all of that to go through a fucking American or Canadian intermediary when I have connections in China? I can just fucking order shit from China. So, I mean, yeah, it's stupid, man.
Forster makes a good point that the Chinese factories might bring their own workers, but it could be the case.
That's up to us, right? Like, the Americans didn't do that. We wouldn't let them do that. We shouldn't let the Chinese. Like, obviously, that would be a deal breaker. But if it's Chinese state-owned corporations and they just want to make money, I know there, for example, there were mines in the Northwest Territories where they did actually bring Chinese workers in, and we have a battery factory in Ontario opening where they're bringing Korean workers in. So, like, there is a precedent for that. I don't think we should allow it, but if we can have some kind of a similar relationship where we just have Chinese capex standing up factories and then hiring some Canadians, is better than no jobs.
This is what I was just about to get into, where I said, okay, if you want to get some type of merchandise produced, right, and you want to go Canadian, you're going to be paying more for a worse product.
Yes,
and this content creator who's a Canadian nationalist through and through and wants nothing to do with dealing with these other countries. He's like, but if I want it done within a decent budget and it's actually better and more well made, I got to go to a Chinese factory. Now, that's a shame.
Correct.
That's a dirty, rotten shame. But if you look at the Chinese economy, we can talk shit about it all day. But one thing that they're pretty good at is, hyper stimulating factory creation. And by factory, I mean a factory you could appropriate for different means. You see videos about these on TikTok, on whatever Reels platform you're looking at, where it's like, here is a Chinese factory and it's got a bunch of machines and it's a textile factory, but you can do a lot with that textile factory. You can kind of make anything fabric related. You can kind of rejigger it to do all kinds of shit. And all you're doing is dealing with companies in the West. But imagine you're that factory owner and some of these guys look like they're 30, 25, 30. How does a fucking 30-year-old end up running a factory? Now, they're running it in a Chinese way, of course, but they are at least working in a system that says, okay, if you want to start a factory just producing merch, producing, the slop for Americans, but we're going to let you do that. We'll make loans and financing available to you. Yeah. And you have a ready-made workforce. And we own a lot of these factories. If you want to start, you and me want to start a factory in Ontario or fucking anywhere, I mean, just say we want to attract investment from all over the world, and we'll just produce stuff. We'll produce whatever it is. Like, how many barriers are in your way for just doing that? Like, so a mid-sized factory.
You know that this is my thing. Like, this is what I.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, I'm asking genuinely. Tell me.
I'm actively involved in this shit. So in Canada, in Ontario specifically, but I'm assuming same from what I hear in the rest of Canada. It's death by 1,000 cuts. It's no one specific thing. There's no one bill that made it impossible. But at every interaction that you make, when you're selecting a part, right, to import, maybe there might be taxes on it. There might be regulations on which, like, maybe you can't bring this particular part from Vietnam, or like maybe you can't do this, or blah blah blah. When you hire employees, right, the process, because the thing is, I own an engineering company in Canada, and I know how labor works here, and I've owned a factory in China, and I know how labor works there. The way labor works there is I grab a guy off the street and I say, hey, want to make $30? And he says, cool. And I check his ID to make sure he is actually a Hong Kong person. And we're good. He fucking works for me now. That's it. And there's no taxes until, like, my point is, when I say new taxes, I mean there's no tax paperwork. I don't even file. I don't even fucking register until it hits $5 million, right? So, like, the amount of paperwork and bullshit. Like, I've been doing HST for the company for Q4 2025. Between my wife and I, it's 15 fucking hours for HST on a 3-man operation. Like, why? And that's just the HST. That's not even income tax. And that's not even the payment. That's just the time that it takes to do the fucking paperwork. Unless you pay a chartered accountant, which is another scam. So, and that's just one angle of it, man. It's taxes, it's regulations, it's barriers to trade. It's a million fucking things.
And that's why, like, and I say this trying to figure out how to bring manufacturing back and make it less hostile. Like, I bet you can find a lot of young guys who would love to start a factory like that. One of these quirky factories where you just produce stuff, and there's a lot of young guys out working it. And I bet you can do it for a fair enough wage. And I bet you can make it attractive for them because, let me just say this. People say, how do you make it attractive? How do you commit to that cultural shift? I would say it doesn't take a lot. It only takes a couple policies to do this, and give it 5 years. Give me 5 fucking years, and the way you start like how they got people into windmill tech. How did windmill tech get inflated? And by windmill tech, I mean people who work on windmills, which was a big thing here in Ontario. What you did was you put the word out from the centralized government that filtered all the way down to guidance counselors in high school and say, this is the hot new thing. You want a job? You want a job out of high school? You want a career path? Get into this. There was all kinds of young guys who were told that. And they went into college, and they went to college, not university. University is one thing. Okay, college, technical colleges, we just call them colleges here. What they do is they are an intermediary between, the government and the private sector and the high school, saying like, okay, we identified a need in the market. We are going to offer training for that for $5,000 a fucking year. So now you have 2 different tiers of society, maybe up to 3 tiers of society, over the course of 2 to 3 years that are now bringing high school young people in to prepare them for this emergent manufacturing market. If you make the decision that we want to start making more factories that are scalable and, rearrangeable to deal with, to basically replace China.
Right.
And there's an argument to be made. And I'm just gaming this out, of course. This is all wild speculation. But there is an argument to be made that based on Canada's history of being less entrepreneurial and more agrarian and labor focused, and this was public policy for a long time. And I think we talked about that in a previous episode. If not, we'll get to it in the next one when we cover Maximum Canada, which is this very interesting book. But it's saying that we might be set up more culturally to do that. This would be a big swing, but you would say Mark Carney would say to Trump, they do their fuck yous, they do their dance, it's the posturing, it's the peacocking. Okay, do you want to make a deal? Do you want to see the shape of something interesting? I'm going to talk to you, Trump. Let's get into a room. Okay, put all the bluster away. Here's what you want. What you want is a legacy. What you want is the history books talking about you. What you want to do is set up J.D. Vance for success. Let's be honest, that's what you want. Okay. I have a pathway where you can cut China out of your world forever. And it involves bringing a lot of that manufacturing sector to Canada. And it's not going to compete on lowering the human capital. We're not going to be doing it in a Chinese way. We're going to be doing it in a white way. We're not going to have people jumping from scaffoldings, because I don't think that's necessary to have the price low. I just think that's how Chinese people deal with their, not having a lunch break. Okay. You see what I'm saying? But there's a pathway to create a new manufacturing sector to address a global marketplace, and specifically the American marketplace, because the Chinese manufacturing sector largely serves the American marketplace and the American entrepreneurship class, whatever it might be. Okay, I think there's a way to start growing that here, is geographically closer, and I think the population is ready for that and excited for that. And I think you could tap into a certain entrepreneurial drive in young white Canadian men who would want to start these factories, and a whole class of men that are kind of just desperate to do anything right now for jobs, like you said before.
Right.
That could be something, and I think there could be something in it for America if we did that.
Absolutely. It's always better. Two trading partners, and both of them are strong, and both of them are, maybe specialized. Ideally, both of them are specialized in different sectors, and then they trade and they reinforce each other. That almost becomes a point where that's a true alliance, right? But like you're saying about entrepreneurialism, I agree with you that Canadian culture is more labor focused and less entrepreneurial. But the entrepreneurs that we have are massively underutilized. So we could immediately take up slack on the entrepreneurs who are currently sitting under a fucking bridge and put them to work. And I also think, I'm not denying that there is a precedent in Canadian history for state-run corporations, what you're kind of describing, like either state-run programs or state-run corporations that would encourage a certain industry. But the other part of it is, like I was mentioning, what works in China and what works in Hong Kong, like their success has largely been to do with, you have all of these rules about labor and about unions and about taxes and all of this shit. They only apply over a certain scale. It's a progressive scale. Like the way the Canadian system works, all of these things apply to everybody. And because the marginal cost of doing it is so high, small businesses almost can't exist. Like an SME under 50 employees almost can't exist in some sectors because the marginal cost of doing business is so fucking high. Just remove it. Just say if your net revenue is less than $50 million, you don't have to pay this shit, because we're not helping anybody by not having this sector anymore, which is what's going on. The electronic sector that's where I work is rapidly leaving Ontario, and this is part of it. So like get rid of, and I know people don't like this sounds like China, but get rid of fucking minimum wages. Get rid of a lot.
It sounds libertarian, and a lot of people don't like that. But
you want business, don't you? Like, you have to just fucking stand on something. Do you want business or do you not? Do you want to have a centrally planned socialist economy? Be my guest. But if you want to have business, you can't centrally plan it. There's not a single example of that fucking working. I'm sorry.
It would be great to have a centrally planned government that distributed capital to the sectors that needed it to spur growth. And we actually used to have that, but we don't now. So since we don't have that now, it would be preferable just to let the people who are dying to do this do it.
The funny thing about that, because you had brought it up about windmills, the fucking windmills, the program you're talking about where they encourage people, they give people bonuses, they give people stipends and subsidies to go into these programs. And then even now, right, if you're like, I've looked at this because I'm always looking for my company to try to find like grants and shit, right? So there's tons of grants for green tech. You can get tons of money for working on, for example,
like
windmills. The thing is, windmills are fucking retarded. They're retarded. They don't produce anything. They produce a tiny fraction of the energy per dollar that you get from any other system. They're so fucking bad. They're so, like, long-term, not on day one, but long-term in terms of maintenance and how they're short their lifespan is, they're so fucking retarded. But not only are we dumping dollars from the Canadian taxpayer and from our deficit into this windmill program, but you are bidding up, and I can see this live, real time, bidding up the price of good engineers who want to go work on juicy government contracts on the windmills that no longer work on private sector contracts. So, for example, if I want to go hire an engineer, that engineer is now $75,000 instead of $62,000. And why? Because the government took my fucking money to give it to him so he could build a windmill that nobody fucking asked for. And now I don't have an engineer. So I got a bee in my bonnet about those specific types of programs. I love the idea of government encouraging, but I don't think government should be picking sectors. Like, the government should not be saying we need windmills. No, the government, it's good enough for the government to say we need business, we need jobs, we need manufacturing, and the people who know how to choose what to produce are business owners. Like you said, you had such a great example. Look at the Chinese factories. They turn on a dime. You got a dark factory with 5,000 employees, and 1 minute they're making cell phones, and the next minute they're making dildos. It doesn't matter to them, right? That is not government central planning. That's a purchasing department or like a sales department responding to market demand in real time. It's funny because it's way more capitalist than us.
It's like that meme. It's like you don't see it much anymore. You only saw it for like a month. It's like, I guess we're making blank now.
Exactly, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right? But you can't do that if all of your money is tied up in it. Like, oh, well, look, I'd like to stop. Here's an example. We make windmill blades. We'd like to make turbine blades for jet fighters, but we can't because that's not green technology and we'd lose our funding. So we have to keep making these windmill blades. Even if we're not selling them, even if we're throwing them in the ditch, we get a subsidy from the government to make them.
Yeah,
we can make them and bury them in the ground and we still get paid.
You're shifting from the priority being producing windmill blades to producing factories that make things.
Yes, because the government is paying us. You see what I'm saying? So because remember, if the government is paying for a subsidy, that money came from you. So first step is stop taking the money, right? Maybe the first step is there are people out here like me, and I could name 20 guys by name in my area alone because I'm part of some of these industry associations who are trying to stand their factories up and fucking can't. If you just stop taking our money, we'll build the factories for you. We'll do it for ourselves, man. We love our country.
Jump in here. We got a good question from Fox Ranger X. Isn't Mexico already the new China for the USA? This was addressing.
I think that's largely true. Yeah.
It is, but because we're just talking about a value proposition you would be selling Trump on, hypothetically. And I would say Canada has a richer history of innovation and technological development, and Mexico does not. What you're going to Mexico for is just more slave labor. What you're going to Mexico for is the industrial version of the guys you hire outside the Home Depot. You just want, basically unskilled labor. What's the top Mexican university?
Yeah.
Canada has some of the most globally renowned universities. Canada has way more impressive universities than has any business having, frankly, for the type of country that it is. But Canada, I think it will produce you better engineers. It will produce you better workers. We're very good at that. And we used to be globally renowned for that up until fairly recently. So I would say we would be a better landing place for capital because we have better workers that can get things done. I mean, better because
if we can get remigration through, then but like that's rapidly disappearing. Not only at an institutional level, but
I was assuming this was white guys all doing it. Sorry if it wasn't.
Oh yeah, clear. If we just stick to Canadian white guys, I think we put the Americans to shame in some sectors. Like if you look back in the 90s in Ontario, we were neck and neck in some sectors with the states. So, but again, that has gone away because of the demographic changes.
Yeah, and this is all just fantastic, gaming this sort of thing out. But that was just my mind wandering and saying, is there a shape to this thing? I think there's a shape to this thing. I think there's a pathway to this, and I don't think it will be that hard to do. Everyone talks like it's so many impossible things must work in concert to accomplish this. No, I just think it takes a few things. It takes a bit of time, and it takes a will. And someone made a good point here. When looking at, this is Geek 593. This assumes a political body not run by ethnic cartels and strange little gay wars. Yeah, agreed on all this stuff.
That's what I was going to say. Like everything that we're talking about requires whatever you want to say. It's a radical change in the way our country is governed. Because I can complain all day about Trump, but our government is our own worst enemy. It is Ottawa that's doing this to us.
Yeah, I always say, here's the pathway. It's a pathway that makes sense. Who's standing in the way of that? Now we can address that. It's very difficult to identify the obstacles and the enemies if you don't have a heading and we're just depressed and nihilistic. But if we have a pathway and then we see who's trying to prevent that, now we know what we need to do with those people. That's how the cartels reveal themselves. That's how certain other groups reveal themselves. Fuck, I forget that I'm on Blood Salad. Jews, basically. Sorry. Sorry, I thought I was on
You've
the
been
Blaze
doing
for
too
a
many
minute.
interviews off the show for a while.
We always gotta say like certain other groups. I don't want. I can't. No, yeah, the fucking the Jews and the Indians and all the people. Don't like. Sorry, guys. But yeah, like this is just. I think if you actually just considered a lot of these. There's opportunity. Let's just move on here. So we got Carney, we got Trump, we got China. We're trying to paint a picture of the problems facing Canada, because I might have said this. Actually, I didn't say this. I've said this in the past, but not this episode. I'm not excited about a closer relationship with China, mainly because we've been down this road before for the very same reasons. This was Pierre Trudeau, Justin Trudeau's father. He was pretty infamous for pursuing a trade relationship with China, with Mao at the time, when America was saying we don't want anyone doing business with China, with the Chinese Communist Party. And we, Canada, pursued this for pretty much the same reasons that we are now. We wanted to break with America. We wanted to have a new trading partner. We wanted to open up opportunities, but that led to the situation where now we're, the flow of fentanyl through Vancouver, the subversion of our political class. We have problems with Chinese infiltration in Canada. So to me, like, I'm not excited because we've done this before and it ended poorly, but it's the exact same thing with America. There's also American infiltration. There's also American subversion of industries. So if we had to pick one or the other, I would pick America. And I think there's a negotiation to be had there. I don't think we know how to negotiate with China. I think China knows how to lie to us, and I think we're very naive when dealing with China. But I think they're operating on a completely different wavelength than we are. They have different concerns, different agendas, different way of understanding the world and their position in it. And, I think they view this as waging a war, some kind of revenge for the century of humiliation. Like they're fighting a war that we don't even know they're fighting, or at least our political class.
That's the flag I'm usually waving, is that China is actually, at least for the next 100 years until there's a change of government, is the enemy of the West. They have it out for us, man. They are not good faith partners. They want our destruction. They desire it. So there's that. But my position is really just the Canada in 2026 is desperate. We're looking for a fucking life preserver. So we need, dude, industrially, we have grain, timber, nickel, uranium, we need somewhere to sell it, or all these mines shut down and they don't come back unless they're stood up by a foreign power. So long as we have these industries, we need to find somewhere. And if we have to sell them to China, we sell them to China. So, but yeah, there's different shades of that. Like, I agree with you that if we tried to get into bed with them in that way, then yeah, you're essentially shaking hands with your mortal enemy. So
yeah, so let's talk about this here. Now I know this. How much time we've got left? Jesus Christ, we have enough time to cover Alberta going bye.
Yeah,
and like I said, we had a whole stream dedicated to this. You can find that on our live stream channel, and I think most of it's about Alberta, and this was before it became that big. There was always people talking about it, and I think one of the things we touched on during the stream was the amount of American influence in the movement. Now, I don't want to say it's total subversion, but I don't think we can have this conversation without bringing up that the Alberta separatist movement has... We were looking at a couple of the more popular voices there, and they turned out to be living in America at that moment.
Yes.
Right? So like that needs to be a part of it. Okay. But there's many Albertans, Marty up north, who we interviewed on the show not long ago. He lives in Alberta. He's a big proponent of this. There's a lot of people living in Alberta and a lot of other provinces who identify with Alberta. Like, I'm looking at a headline here from Global News. Hundreds line up in Calgary to sign petition urging vote in Alberta separation. Now, hundreds doesn't sound like a lot, but it ain't nothing. Hundreds of people lining up one day at the Calgary Stampede grounds to sign their names on a petition calling for the government to hold a referendum.
Hold on, they did it at the Calgary Stampede. Like, so people were already there for an event.
I assume so, but they were lining up at the... So I don't
That's
think
like
people
you put a
would
booth at the mall. It's like people at the mall who happen to be walking by with nothing better to do on a Saturday sign the petition. That's very different from people drove an hour to sign.
That's a fair point. Also, they need 178,000 signatures,
And they have
by
800.
May. They're saying it sends a strong message to Alberta. If you are online at all, this will seem like a massive movement. Let me see if I can pull up a guy. You're gonna love this guy. Hold on. Keep talking for a minute. I'm trying to find this motherfucker.
You know what? I'm drinking Goderum and Warts. Remember the distillery? They reopened it down in the distillery district.
Yeah.
So I'm drinking it. I got their 4-grain blend. It's all right, man.
Okay, well, look
There
at
you
this
go.
guy. You heard about this guy? Clyde Do Something? Oh, you'll love this guy. One of our top
I do
faggots.
not love Clyde Do Something. I hate Clyde Do Something.
You know about him.
Of
I was being
course,
sarcastic.
I've been on YouTube at least once. I've seen. Of course, you've seen Clyde. I don't think he's an op, but he's pushed, man. He gets pushed fucking everywhere. He came out of nowhere. Clyde, and who's the other one? The pleb. These fucking losers.
Pleb Reporter, yeah. They're in a different world, a different content world, where they're trying to, I suppose, ingratiate themselves with the conservative establishment. They seem to want nothing to do with the People's Party of Canada, but they're getting close to. Like, I imagine a lot of these guys were big in the anti-vax movement because
Yeah,
the
they're
anti-vax movement-
trucker protest guys. They're anti-vax. They're like pro-gun guys. But the minute you talk about race or sovereignty or culture, they're anti-racist. They're libs at heart.
Oh, we got a Geo, good friend Geo Pinachetti in the chat. Doesn't that Matt Ehret guy think that China subversion thing is nonsense, or is he like a China bro? I have to read his Substack more. We've had Matt Ehret on the show before. I think Canadian guy, does not live in Canada, I believe. I think he lives in Russia right now. I have no
So the
evidence.
guy who
of
lives
this.
in Russia says China is nothing to worry about.
He is a multipolarity guy.
He's gay and stupid.
I'm 90% sure he's on some kind of payroll, but he just cranks out content constantly. Like that's his job. He's always doing documentaries and writing books, and he's got like 3 videos a day. He's just always producing stuff. He is a China guy, so he would say that anything that is critical of China would be fake. But he's also releasing videos about Freemasonry. He's releasing videos about a lot of esoteric stuff. So I bet a lot of people find that very interesting. Nice guy, very well-read guy, but I know what his agenda is.
Yeah.
But if you like that sort of thing, I know Gio is a bit more of that tilt, but yeah, that's where he's.
Yeah,
that's his thing. Blood Satellite's bottom guy, Clyde Do Something. Yeah, I just hate this guy because what he did was he moved to America fairly recently, and he treats it like being a new convert to a religion or a recently sober alcoholic, you know what I mean, who just can't shut up about it. So he moved to America. The first thing he did, maybe not the first thing, but he's always been critical of Canada, but he's almost like he's trying to befriend the Americans by being so anti-Canada. Like he's just calling Canadians losers and saying, like, making fun of, like, anytime a Canadian stands up for themselves, like, oh, you think that's going to do anything? You're pathetic. You're weak. In so many
I
words.
noticed
And
that in a lot of guys that left the country, and I'm assuming are no longer surrounded by their own, countrymen. They tend to just, it's easier for them to just go off and start just bashing Canada and bashing Canadians.
See, this is his typical post. If you had both these and were told that you absolutely had to give one up in favor of the other, which one will you choose? And it's a Canadian passport and an American passport. This is the slop he's going after. Like, if you say you'd keep the Canadian passport, you're dreaming. You know, like, just...
Yeah. Unless you're actually a Canadian, in which case you believe Canada is superior because you're a Canadian. So I don't know. Like,
I can't put into words the level of contempt
guys,
I have for this.
You know
individual.
how much GDP China has? Do you know how big China's GDP? Do you know how big India's GDP is? If you had an Indian passport, can you imagine? You're kidding yourself if you think you'd give up that Indian passport. India's GDP is way bigger than Canada's. So
So here's what it says: every Canadian party is anti-American. No political leaders pro-USA. There's no options for me in Canada.
That's literally not true. That's insane.
Dude, what a Gordian
Wait,
knot.
he's saying I can't stay in Canada because there's no pro-American political.
Yes.
The fuck are you talking about? How about like you're not American, man? You know what? It's literally like in America. It's like I gotta leave America because there's no pro-Israeli political party.
There's so many funny dimensions to this that it's insane. It's an insane thing to say. But like he wants to be American so bad that he's like, I'd leave Canada because it wasn't pro-American enough. But then just he must have done. I don't know where he is in America. I want to believe he did the stereotypical thing of like going right to Texas. You know what I mean? Like if you have dreams of being an American, okay, what part of America?
Yeah.
Because just to remind you guys, there's California in America too. There's Oregon in America. There's a lot of parts that you could classify as worse than Canada.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying about, and I don't think I even said this on the show, about Canadian annexation, when America, let's say, takes over the entirety of Canada, and we're saying what they're hoping, and I've known people who said this, what they were hoping was that we would adopt many of the American standards, let's say lack of gun control, lower taxes. Those are just the two main ones. Okay.
I mean, these are good things, but America doesn't own those things. Those are just good things.
Why? I'll start by saying this. Why would we become more American and why wouldn't they become more Canadian?
Yeah.
Why would they not? Because there's a lot of Democrats in America. When they absorb Canada, they're absorbing a population that, as much as I might dislike it, are close.
I lost you. You there? Okay.
Are you still there?
No, yeah, I got you. You just cut out for 2 seconds. It's good.
The Canadians are turbo libs. Like our liberals are turbo libs.
Right,
they're California libs. They're not the cool Democrats.
You'd be massively shifting the political demographics by integrating us. Yeah, it's not a good idea.
Integrating them would be like integrating Mexico politically. So why would they not use Canada to argue for stricter gun control and universal health care? We're assuming we'll get all the American stuff. Why wouldn't they get some Canadian stuff? And that's why no one's really considered that. And I'm not trying to say that they're absorbing a problem, but really think about this. Really game this out. Think about what happens the day after. And I don't think a lot of people have said. They just say, well, I like to be absorbed because I like lower taxes. Well, maybe you end up paying Californians taxes. I think California pays worse taxes than we do.
Right. You're looking at like taxes across the board because there happen to be some low tax states, but there also happen to be states in America that have higher taxes than Canada. So, like, don't count on it.
We ended up talking too much about Clyde. Do something.
Clyde.
Marty up north. I'm fine with, but he's okay. He's an advocate for Alberta separation. Do we think it's serious? I'm not sure. Do real Canadians believe in it? Yes. Now, and do those Canadians have a reason to say it? I want to be conscious of that.
Yes. Look,
yes.
I don't want to be caught up in this and be like, oh, you're an Easterner, you hate the prairies. No, look, if I wanted to pick a province that has been the most raped and extorted by Ottawa, it's Alberta or the prairies at large. I agree with that, and I know where they're coming from. I just don't think that because you got the worst beating of all of us, you should leave. We're all being beaten. And you're actually one of the stronger provinces. If you leave, you're sentencing the rest of us to death. It's the same demographic thing. Like if they take just Alberta is I believe it's the most conservative of the provinces demographically. If they take that away from us, Canada is effectively doomed, or like we're doomed to violent civil war at that point. There's no other way out. We might be able to politically change something with the help of the prairies, right? But I mean, if it's just selfish.
So I'm just getting through some comments here that I missed when I went on my fugue state just there. Very good point. People were addressing some of the claims I was making. But yeah, I think it's very important to identify that Alberta has reason to want to separate. And I think so does British Columbia. We have many listeners, many friends of the show in British Columbia. They're saying they're getting a raw deal. And if we harken back to the reasoning behind Confederation, one of the main reasons was to prevent American encroachment in the territory, but even more than that was to build East-West cohesion. That was the dream of Sir John A. Macdonald, East-West cohesion and strength of trade. And has that been the case? Did that happen? At one point, maybe yes, but hasn't been for quite some time. Most of the trade is directed south, as we know, as we've addressed previously. So Alberta is left paying equalization payments, disproportionate equalization payments to places like Quebec. A lot of us are paying Quebec for the benefit of them hating us. You know what I mean? So it's not a very fair deal. Now, would they be better off alone? I actually don't think so. Would they be better as part of the American Empire? I don't think so. But I think if we're talking art of the deal, then I think you need to talk like this to jolt the center of power awake, or at least, if not this, then what? But I just want to say, like, I hear what they're saying, and I don't find a lot of fault in it. It fucking sucks. The Laurentian elites fucking trap. It all sucks.
You know what would actually be cool? Rather than Alberta seceding, would be push Ottawa north of the St. Lawrence into Quebec. Quebec secedes and becomes an independent state, and then we sell Toronto to. I knew you'd bring
Toronto. I knew it.
We sell Toronto for $1 to the Americans, to Michigan, and then we're finally a country again. The new capital is in Regina.
I knew you were just trying to figure out a way to nuke Toronto without nuking Toronto.
Well, yeah, if we make Toronto part of Minneapolis.
Yeah, just fucking give it to Somalia. I don't know, you fucking asshole. But yeah, someone made. Can we give you our G since we took Trudeau? With his relationship with Katy Perry. What a life he's living, huh?
Fuck that guy.
What a dumb autobiography it's going to have. You know, like, you start dating Katy Perry at the worst time to date Katy Perry.
Dude, oh man. He was probably listening to her in high school when he was in high school.
I tell you what, those breastises are a war crime right now. You're getting in at the bottom. You're getting after all of the producers have been through her. This is a woman that looks exceptionally molested, by the way. This is a woman, like, she came out of nowhere, and she just looks so psychologically broken.
She looks to me like she came out of a box, like phenotypically as a human female. She looks like they found her in some Midwest high school and just pulled her out of the fucking lacrosse team and dropped her on a stage and like zapped her head. Like, she's not that attractive. In interviews, she seems lost. Like, she's where do they find these fucking people, dude? Are we talking about Katy Perry now, or are we still doing Alberta?
We're still doing, but I wanted to bring this to our attention. CBC, BC Premier says Alberta separatists seeking assistance from U.S. is treason. And this is what we were talking about before. Now, how real is this? Is it getting real enough where they're trying to spook anyone within the movement? Because, of course, there is going to be American interest in this. There will be American money.
That is a reasonable statement, though. Like, if the states gets involved in this, and they've already said that they are involved talking to the Alberta separatists. I mean, that's like a color revolution. That's fucking regime change. You can do it in a quiet way, but that is what that is. That's a foreign country giving money to a separatist movement within our country. That's war talk, buddy.
We got Sunflower Society here saying, can we finally get some high-speed rail?
Hell yeah!
I'd like a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like, we should have just...
to do the Shinkansen rail.
You know what I'd like? Just some good rail. Just some pretty decent rail. We should get Clossington on to complain about trains some more. Mm-hmm. That is a man who likes his trains. That is a man who's talking about how North America just does not take trains seriously anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we really want high-speed rail, or are we just...
I think Canada is the ideal country for high-speed rail. We should be the kings of high-speed rail. Places where they have high-speed rail, China. Okay, China makes sense, but a lot like Japan, I guess Japan, it kind of makes sense, but it even more makes sense here, right? The way that our cities are organized and even the geography that we have, at the very least, from Calgary to Montreal, there should be high-speed rail.
I agree completely. Because there's no, that was the promise going back to Confederation, that we're going to build a big, beautiful rail line, because that was the only thing that made sense at the time. And I think arguably still the only thing that makes sense, because it's sure as shit not air travel.
Look, that could be the rebirth of the country, because that was the original birth, essentially. Like John A. pulled all that shit together at the 11th hour with the railroad. We could do it again with high-speed rail. We'll just sink British Columbia. We just give it away, give it to China, and then everything from the Rockies east, high-speed rail.
You keep destroying the country. We're gonna fucking just cleave off huge parts of it and just fucking nuke it, just burn it, just do whatever. Looking at an article that was forwarded to me by Mark Trouble, perhaps. We're looking at the National Post. We're on Archive. Op-ed by Ted Morton. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms is gutting the provinces, and the data proves it. The courts are centralizing Canada at an increasingly aggressive rate. So this is all part of one rich mosaic we've been painting for the back half of this episode. All of the problems facing Canada, and now we're looking at internal problems here. I know we got to get going soon, and I'm highly conscious of that. But I just wanted to just touch on this because it is very fascinating. So 4 years ago, on the 40th anniversary of Canada's Charter of Rights and Freedoms, I wrote in the National Post that the Charter is one of the worst bargains ever struck in the history of Canadian federalism. Argued that it'd become little more than a disguised version of the old discredited federal power of disallowance, a federal veto over provincial policies, now exercised by the Supreme Court rather than the Cabinet. Quebec governments have always understood this. This is why Quebec refused to ratify the 1982 Constitution Act. Now there's new empirical evidence that it isn't. That's in fact what's happening. A recent study released by Macdonald-Laurier Institute has found that not only that centralization is inherent to the structure of the Charter, but that the Charter's centralizing tendencies have become increasingly more pronounced in recent years. The study is based on a database of all the Supreme Court's charter decisions. By contrast, it goes into the courts here a little bit. I'm just going here. A telling exception of the Supreme Court's recent Bissonnette and Sennett decisions. The study notes that its data usually understates the centralizing effect of judicial charter decisions because it only includes Supreme Court decisions. A review of the charter decisions. This is all quite predictable. The Charter doesn't speak for itself. In practice, the Charter means what the judges say it means. Interesting. The federal cabinet chooses not just who sits on the Supreme Court, but also the judges on provincial superior courts. What about the cost of going to court? No need. If you're on the right or left side, the federal court challengers program funds litigation costs of progressive rights advocacy groups that the Liberals support and who in turn support the Liberals. The losers have been provincial governments and by extension Canadian citizens who want provincial policies made by governments they elect. Anyway, long story short, Charter of Rights and Freedoms used as a way to centralize power within Ontario, within what we understand to be the Laurentian elite, basically the Liberal power structure, and strip the provinces of their rights and only present them with responsibilities. Again, to show that maybe Alberta has a point, maybe BC has a point, maybe every province outside of Ontario has a point, except for Quebec, because I'm a bit tired of hearing about Quebec for now. But you see what I'm saying?
They're part of the Laurentians. It's half Quebec. It's disproportionately French, actually, if you look at it by head count. So.
Oh, Judas just wants violence dimes, is what they're telling me.
Yeah, have you not paid? I mean, you've been here too, so I mean, here we are.
This is supposed to be the Give War a Chance show.
Yeah,
and here I am, guffawing.
A new kind of war.
Yeah. So I guess that really summarizes where I think the important issues are. That they're external and both internal, and there's a couple external considerations, but I think everything is hamstrung by the internal contradictions. And this is something we've gotten to on the show before. Like, what is Canada? How many institutions within Canada are nationalist? Sounds crazy. Sounds crazy to even ask that question because you would assume Canadian institutions would at least have the national interest in mind. I just think we're in a situation where we're not. And I think we've been subverted from without and from within, and we don't really know where to disentangle that.
Yeah.
So you kind of need to start your own country within the country.
I wonder if it's because of our age, like we were raised, we're both kids of the 90s. If this is just the Canada that it's been for this long, but it feels like Canada is half-baked. Like Canada was never done. Like we had Confederation, but it never really coalesced into a proper country. There was an element of like, oh, we're actually just a colony, or we're actually just a branch of the British Empire. We're actually just we're America's hat. But I feel like we're not done yet. Like there is some greater future identity to Canada that will exist one day, and we're finding it right now. Because I would talk about the railroads and talk, like you said, our institutions don't have the national interest at heart. Have they ever? I'm not sure they have, to be honest. Like reading some stuff from like the 1950s and 1940s, they were fighting the states the same way we are right now. So
yeah, it's been the same story the entire time. If I can just give me 2 more minutes, and I'll end on this.
Yeah, cool.
I wanted to cover this a bit more in depth, and we won't have time, but we're looking at commonplace.org. It's a website. I'm not too familiar with it, but What Happens in America is the subheading here. Title of the article is Canada Doesn't Have the Cards. Written by Oren Cass and Daniel Kishi. I have no idea who these people are. I'm saying it like you should know, like I should know, like anyone should know. It's talking about exactly what we've been discussing. Talking about Mark. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because it's talking about Mark Carney, his background in Davos and things like that. Last week, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney announced a new strategic partnership with Beijing. We were just talking about that. Now, no matter how loudly Davos applauds or how warmly a favorable press receives him, Carney doesn't have the cards. He has geography, and that geography still governs the fundamentals of the Canadian economy. Interesting take. Let's continue. And talk about the deal, which isn't a deal yet. It's an agreement in principle. It's not a real comprehensive trade deal. It's more of a swap. We're talking about the electric cars thing. Whatever pose Carney strikes, Canada's balance sheet still points south in 2024. We give these numbers all the time, but just as a refresher, 76% of Canadian exports are flowing south, and 62% of the imports are from America. This is across Canada, with Canada running a $102 billion good surplus in the relationship. China sits on the other side of the ledger. Canada ran almost a $60 billion deficit with Beijing that year, even though the relationship is far smaller in scale. China accounted for 12% of Canada's imports. Carney's China gambit can only take 2 paths, and neither ends well. If it's intended as leverage, it invites blowback. The USMCA is Canada's most valuable strategic asset because it affords Canada preferential access to the markets. In the worst case scenario, Carney's gambit could tempt the Trump administration to cut a bilateral deal with Mexico that sidelines Canada. This is what we were also just talking about, turning supposed leverage into a loss of privilege. If it's not a bluff, if he really believes he can diversify towards China, then it becomes something worse, setting Canada down the road to deindustrialization. And we kind of talked about this, but I think this is very important, especially to what you were talking about not long ago. It says, any partnership that lowers barriers in autos or manufactured goods will run the same script. Canadian market share shrinks, local capacity erodes, and dependence on resource exports deepens. As Lawrence Zhang of the Information Technology and Innovation Foundation, ironic, writes, by treating electric vehicles and canola as roughly equivalent trade-offs, Canada is confusing industrial platforms with bulk exports. A rational Canadian leader would double down on North American strength, coordinate with the United States on sectoral defenses against China's overcapacity, pair them with stricter rules of origin enforcement, and block transshipment. So, really, I think what he was getting at here, and I agree with this, a partnership with China will not encourage industrialization. Sure, it won't encourage that with America either, but I think we're running the risk of just becoming a marketplace for China or a dumping ground for China, whereas it could be something else with America, especially, as I said before, if you're brokering a relationship with America in the interest of cutting off China. instead of, you know what I mean? Like, you're getting something out of this if you invest in us. Help. That's how you get America to invest in the Canadian manufacturing sector to spite China. I'll take a spite investment because we're just talking about how to get capital.
I would love that. And I'm just saying, I think that would be ideal. I would love that to happen. And just my observation has been that that type of plan has been proposed and presented and in some cases enacted for decades. And the long run result over 100 years has been America just eating our lunch. And I don't know if it's in the cards in the long, like over the next 50 years, not now, like maybe we do make a deal with Trump and he brings a little bit back, but is it just going to mean they get an economic boom while our wages continue to stagnate for another 20 years because we get the rough end of that deal again for the fucking 50th time? So I don't know how to view the relationship with America as anything other than they're a bad faith negotiator, and whatever they say they're going to give you, you're not actually getting it.
No, I agree completely. And when I say all these things, I'm trying to juggle all of these swords in the air at the same time. Like, these are all true. Just like with the Alberta thing, I'm like, this whole discourse is subverted, but they have a point. But they probably wouldn't survive on their own. Like, every outcome sounds pretty bad. And I'm just trying to keep that in mind. Yes, America would be better than China. However, it hasn't been great with America.
I don't know why we're not joining Europe, to be honest. China is the same fucking distance. Like, I think we have a lot. Look, we're resource rich. Europe is fucking spent, dude. I don't know why we're not working more closely with Europe. A lot of where I work, I have a lot of contact with Germany and Hungary. We import stuff from them. Like, why aren't we exporting shit to Germany? I don't know. Like, do they have fucking nickel mines like we do? I don't think so. Anyway, who knows?
Yeah. So the path, I think, despite everything that was said, I think there's a path forward. I really do. Whether or not we're going to take it is to be seen. I'm interested to see what Mark Carney will do. I don't trust Mark Carney. But I also want to say I'm receptive to the reasoning behind a relationship with China. Like, I get it. I get where you're coming from. I get where other people are coming from. And even our good friend Gio, and even Sunflower Society. Like, there's a few people I've known and people that I respect and trust who've said that, I will be on side with anyone that just gives me what I want. Like you had said, who's going to let me build factories? Who's going to help me get from point
beggars
A to point
can't
B?
be choosers.
Yeah. And so I hope that's what Carney's doing. I hope he's trying to say, like, all right, seduce me. And instead of being seduced, he's being, beaten and raped. But, that's part of this dance.
Yeah.
Being beaten and raped is part of this dance of courtship that we do.
Mm-hmm.
The grand dance.
Canada,
called the big
they
show.
call her Canada, and she is so raped. She has been so raped. Love you, Canada. Fast recovery.
Canada, they call her so raped.
The most raped country in history. Was it me who raped her? I don't think I raped her. I could have. Was it? She was raped long before I entered office. Was she raped by Americans? She may have been. People are saying America raped her. People are saying America enjoyed it. But yeah.
They say she can't get any more raped. We shall see. There's no limit. Advising people not to use rape jokes and end up in fucking Australian jail. Then there's us. Rape is good.
Caravaggio says automate and then isolate. That's the fourth option. We said America, China. Stupid idiot Judas said Europe. But the best thing is, I agree, automate and then isolate. If we can get just a little bit of capex, if we could spool it up, like we can start and here's the thing, not arbitrary capex into fucking wind turbines, but tool and die, man. Like an OSB or like a plywood plant. Like the stuff that we need, stuff that's core materials that are resources that allow our economy itself to stand back up that we currently import. If we could create that manufacturing, I'll tell you what, the guys that I know that are trying to stand up factories right now, that's what everybody's talking about. Everybody wants it. They want to bring the lumber mills back. But you can't in the current regulatory environment. So, but yeah, I mean, automate and then isolate. I like that. That's a good phrase.
No, when I talk about manufacturing and I talk about scalable industry, that's really what I'm getting to. And we discussed this on the show before about the most cutting edge technology is typically the most scalable, meaning it can absorb capital and scale appropriately. And most manufacturing technically can, but there's some that's why we love technology development, because it scales so well. So that's before I was saying that Canada has such a robust history in engineering and innovation and tech development. That's what makes it such an attractive prospect for that sort of technology. Like, you're not going to get that in Mexico. Right. You're going to get that in fucking Argentina. We have the bedrock here of highly reputable academia and the production of these skilled, what would you call them? Not craftsmen, tradesmen, but like engineers. Like we make really, really fucking good engineers. We have the people that could do this.
We got squareheads. This is where the Dutch and the Ukrainians that we have actually sometimes come in handy. And obviously English and Scottish as well are good for this. Fuck the French. But I mean, I love the French, but they're not squareheads. But yeah, we have squareheads. We have, honestly, the Americans have cowboys, which are great. But we have squareheads. We have people that build things. So...
yeah. So like I automate and isolate. The reason I like that, and I never phrased it like that before, but there's this idea, and we'll get to this next episode when we review a book called Maximum Canada that says for Canada to be competitive on the global stage, it needs to have at least 100 million people. And the Century Initiative is, I think, the main strategy to get to 100 million Canadians in the next
That is
century.
stupid and false on its face. I just want to say, I'm going to make my... That is on its face. It's a stupid, false thing. Yeah.
Yeah. This will be perhaps a grug-brained take, but just the way technological development has accelerated, I think you can have massively scalable industries operated by fewer individuals. Like, I don't think you just need this.
We could not even hypothetically. I can draw you a fucking chart how we could quadruple our GDP and half our population in the next 20 years. It's not even that difficult. There are countries out there that have something like that going on, and it has everything to do with infrastructure investment and technology and capital expenditure. So yeah, it's not even crazy to say that.
It's like if we just had systems in place, we think we need to ramp up the birth rate to compete against India. By the way, I've been hearing some wild figures on what India's actual population is.
Yes.
Because they said that it's 1.5 billion, and I've heard someone say it's as low as 300 million.
Well, but the other thing is,
which is
they may
crazy,
in some places
right?
They're under, and some places they're over. They're pretty sure China has been notoriously over-reporting their population, like they never actually hit 1 billion. They're probably in the hundreds of millions the whole time, and they over-report because of the way the Chinese government works. They get more funding if they over-report, so their censuses are all fucked. But with India, there's places where they over-report for the census because they want to get the Gibbs. But there's whole sections of India that don't even do it. And the only way they can take a census by like flying a plane or using a satellite. So there may actually be way more people there. Like, you don't know. There might only be 700 million people in India. There might be 4 billion. It's a fucking wild card. You don't know.
All we know is there's
too many.
Not 1.5 billion.
0 is too many. Who is that?
India does not have 1 billion people. Yeah, exactly. It either has 300 million or 7 billion.
It's one or the other.
Saying. Well, there's one thing I'm sure of. It's not 1 billion people. But where's it going with this? Oh yeah, but I was just saying that there's this idea that you need to just have so much human capital. We're trying to have a birth rate to outpace them. And it's good to have a higher birth rate. It's good to have at least replacement.
Right, but you're not doing that for the GDP.
But also, what we could also have is we have an ocean between us and them. All we would need is laws and regulations so they go away, and then guns to shoot them when they show up. If we just had that, and then let them devour themselves. I don't care what happens in Africa. Mm-hmm. Turn off the financial spigot. Look away for 5 years and look back and see what the population is now.
Make it a resource colony again. Pull back on everything except the fucking diamond mines.
It'd be funny. We start approaching the Indian population numbers like we do the Holocaust, Like, it's no way it's a billion. Like, we're looking at the fucking. We ran the numbers, and best we could do is around 200,000 Indians.
we look at like once in the past there were 1.6 billion Indians. Never again will we let this tragedy befall humanity. It's
something of a reverse Holocaust.
Can you?
And you're thinking a reverse Holocaust, which is like, oh, like it's good. No, it's bad, but there's
It's not
more.
that they killed 6 million people. It's that they let 1 billion people live who we don't want.
Can you imagine that the Holocaust was we found 6 million Jews?
They rolled away the stone, and there they were.
Oh no. All right, that's a good place to end, isn't it? I hope everyone enjoyed the stream tonight. I had a wonderful time. Thank you for everyone who showed up in the chat. Thank you for the super chatters. We got some money sent in. I threw them up on screen when I was able to, but sometimes I miss them. I apologize. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next. Any closing remarks?
That's
or
it, buddy.
thoughts?
Good one. I enjoyed this.